Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Trucked Before. This time, Shakkar, Deep Space Nine.
As far as like
on It's All Been Trucked Before. Shakkar, on It's All Been Trucked Before. That's the kind of, you can get a lot better humor if you follow us on Facebook. It's All Been Trucked Before. Very funny stuff we're doing. Like I said, poking fun at ourselves, poking fun at Trek, maybe poking fun at you. Poke back! Come in, talk to us. You know Poke is still a feature on Facebook? It is. But it's unnecessary to use that. Just follow us on there. It's all been trekked before. Speaking of that, this is Shakkar, Deep Space Nine. It's all been trekked before.
Welcome out to another episode. It's all been trekked before. Your regular hosts are here.
This is Steven.
and allergic.
And that's Keith, Jimmy-Jerome. And we're here to talk about the episode A Mover and a Shakkar. I know, that was bad.
Oh, that's amazing.
I thought of it right when you left the room to go upstairs.
That would be the Simpsons title, almost certainly, or something like that.
Absolutely. So seriously, we're here to discuss Shakkar. First impressions.
So, I'm not sure if they've been naming names of her, of Kira's past associates before this, but...
They've mentioned Shakkar before.
Okay, yeah. It hadn't rung a bell at the time, so the first thing I thought of was like Planet Hulk. I think the planet he was on was Shakkar.
Oh.
That kept popping into my head. Or thought maybe they were going to see the Darmok aliens or something. But no.
No. Shakkar when the walls fell.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you like the episode?
No, there's something kind of feel good and feel bad about it, which is nice. I think it had the right balance of those things. I don't know, should I talk about what I was thinking with like the open yet, or are we just doing like the general impression before we?
First impression.
Yeah, that's no. I like the way it played out. It felt like they were relying on people's knowledge of the series more than they usually would. Up at that point, because I started thinking about like that stinger. I mean, it was on the one hand, it was informing you that this is a bad development that just occurred, whether or not you know who they're talking about or not. It's like setting the stage. So even if you don't know who it is, you're going, oh, something must be something dangerous about this person. But at the same time, it's almost like somebody like, okay, and what does this mean? So either way.
Yeah, I thought it was a little dry for a while, and then we finally got into shooting, although there was only one shot fired. But yeah, when it built to the brink of civil war and all that, I thought it got interesting. Before then, if other than the performance of Louise Fletcher, always great. It was very, it was like they weren't negotiating trade routes or whatever, but it felt very Phantom Menace. I am the Senate, kind of a thing of we're negotiating, and then finally got to more effective negotiations, or I can't remember what Padme says.
Creative, or was it I think like they were making toward the beginning when they were.
I think it's when
the two Jedi were chasing down.
Yeah, that's Phantom, but then now I'm using the line first from Clone Wars.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, my first impression is I ended up liking it. Still very talky, but it feels like laying more groundwork for, and we get a little deeper into the Bajorans and all that. And yeah, I think Keith kind of alluded to this, but it's kind of interesting that it was kind of a happy ending for now.
Yeah.
Question mark?
Yeah.
But yeah.
You would get the best of Kai Wynn for the moment.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I do agree with Keith that it relied on some past knowledge, but I felt like they did a really good job of giving us the past knowledge, reminding us, Burrell's been dead 3 months, and he was your boyfriend, and he also worked for Kai Wynn and negotiated the peace treaty, and and also you used to be a resistance fighter. It's something they kind of mentioned in here, and I can't remember if it's been mentioned on the series before, but Kai Wynn was a resistance fighter too. There's a trilogy of novels that follow her time in the resistance.
Huh.
So, she did fight for the Bajoran people, which means she's not totally without good sides, but then what good complex character is.
Yeah.
But it is nice they got the better of her for the moment, even if it...
I think it's debatable to say that that's even a good side necessarily, and that would be for her own preservation. And it's...
Well, she could have just run away and hid if it was
yeah,
just a
I was going to say yes. It could. she could have either hidden or been collaborator or something like that. But still, I think it's you know what I'm saying. It doesn't necessarily mean she's a good person. It just means she's aggressive enough to do something.
Yeah. But yeah, we start at the beginning with Cisco looking like he's going to beat O'Brien at darts, but then he doesn't. And I like when O'Brien apologizes. He's like, apologies just make it worse. Like, that's
It's
a pity
true.
apology.
It's true.
Oh.
My note there was surely O'Brien's hubris won't pay off.
I thought it was the thinnest, slightest B story ever.
Quite.
Misremembered the end of it because I was sure O'Brien faked the injury.
What?
It should have improved that plot
Yeah.
a lot, and it would have just been a little line of.
I thought the whole deal was they were making money. I thought it was a sting.
And he was like, and he was just trying to
And
screw
then-
Quark over for taking
Yeah.
advantage of him. Yeah.
Because it was so like over the top.
It
His
looked like
injury.
yeah.
And then
That might have been.
Bashir immediately confirming, oh yeah, it's separated. It's like,
I thought Bashir was in on it.
Right.
yeah, me too. Yeah, I thought it was a sting operation, and then it's like, no, he actually tore his shoulder reaching back for it.
I would say right up until the end when when the doctor took the shot, I still thought they were doing that just so
Yeah,
they could
yeah,
get in the
yeah,
kayaking
same
program.
here.
But then he was like, he seemed generally
Right?
Yeah,
like,
like,
you know, I don't know.
doesn't make sense any other way to me.
No, and the timeline of that plot didn't match up with the timeline of the rest of it.
Right.
Because Brian the next day was going to do again, and he hurt his arm, and that may have been the next day, but then the very next scene, they're like, Kira's been on the run for 2 weeks. But then they come back in the bar at the end, and it's like he hasn't been in there in 2 weeks, even though they said
Yeah.
the surgery would take a day and he'd be
Right.
back to normal.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So,
Or maybe they jump backwards.
yeah, the timeline doesn't match up. It feels like the writing was a little uneven. Written by Gordon T. Dawson,
Gordon.
who is best known for being a producer on Purgatory, a TV movie in 1999,
Huh.
The Getaway, and Walker, Texas Ranger.
Oh wow.
The 90s series, not the reboot. But he's got 27 writing credits as well. He did an episode of Baywatch Nights, the 2 episodes of Deep Space Nine. Let's see what the other one is. He also did an episode of Silk Stockings around this time. So, yeah, he's got like 27 writing credits. Last season, he wrote Prophet and Lace. Directed by Jonathan West, who's best known for being a cinematographer for 117 episodes of DS9 and 47 episodes of TNG. So, somebody that worked on the series regularly. But, yeah, the writing just, it felt like they forced a B-plot that was meant for another episode into this.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and like I said, it was so thin that it was like, okay, I guess this is a good cutaway from the other plot line that's going on. But other than that, it was.
Well, even O'Brien saying, like, I've never been in the zone before. I'll never be again. Oh, well.
Right.
It was like,
Right.
making it like I had written under Shady Brian, and I just scratched it out because it's like,
I still think it's shady because it really doesn't.
Yeah, the writer is shady. Somebody's shady.
right? I don't know. That's frustrating. Any other notes about that plot, or we can just drop it for the rest of the conversation?
Yeah, I don't think I do.
I mean, I guess the one connection between the two plots was there was the Resistance fighter who had lost an arm, and maybe we could kind of mention there's some thread there, but they never made it like solid enough to actually connect the two.
I love that actually.
Yeah, I think that was what I know. It was more darts, and then I just being convinced that it was the scam. It was
Right?
scam.
Yeah, I think what I was noting is it just seemed the characters acting seemed really good for like the whole trying it again and letting the shoulder fall like it looked convincing. I was like, okay, they're really playing into this.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess maybe it was convincing as it was supposed to be. It's just
Yeah.
Like, are shoulders even that important? Doing darts, I don't even know.
yeah. Well,
I
it
guess
depends.
if you
Rotator
had a
cuff.
rotator cuff, yeah, that makes
What's funny because mine hurts right now, so I'd be pretty convinced that if you were.
You got some money, I'll play you darts.
sense.
So the other plot starts with the First Minister's dead, and Cisco comes to tell Kira, which I found a little bit odd that like it hasn't already been on the public news
Yeah.
feeds, or she wouldn't have been alerted in some way. But then we hear that Wynn has been appointed. I don't know that Bajor has ever had a good separation of church and state, given how heavy the religion hangs over their society. But this just eliminates all aspect of separation, and I kind of wanted a discussion like, is this normal? Have there been other Kais that have been First Minister? Or is this like a brand new novel thing? Because I think if they had mentioned that it was a brand new novel thing, it would impact a little harder. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, yeah, still from the cold open there I had Kira, the religious zealot, because we opened on that.
Yeah.
And like suddenly out of nowhere, she's just. I later on it certainly made sense of what they were accomplishing several things at once with a backstory, but it just made it seem so much more worshipful than she normally would have been for the purpose of.
See her pray and stuff from time to time in the series. I think she's private about her religion, but she's religious.
I was convinced that she was speaking some form of Hebrew with those prayers or whatever, but everything I looked into, it's whatever the Bajoran language is based on. But it reminded me of my first wife, first ex-wife, when she probably still does it from time to time, but she would recite certain Hebrew prayers for Passover, the one she had to do at her bat mitzvah and all that stuff. It I found it impressive and sexy. So
Just as they intended, I'm sure.
Fun fact, or not so fun fact, is the Bajoran religious advisor they hired for Deep 9 actually wasn't Bajoran in real life. And so it made up all the religion stuff. So it was very culturally insensitive. If you're doing our Voyager back and forth, you will appreciate that a lot more. So Wynn's running unopposed, which is disturbing, but I also get it because we've seen the shady side, but I think we've also been told enough in the series that she hides it from her public persona.
Yeah, and they drove that point home.
Yeah.
And as we did, feels very timely.
I really loved the exchange between Odo and Kira, where Odo's like, yes, you and I know better because we have personal feelings. Yeah. He's like, you blame her for killing Barial, and he doesn't reveal his personal feelings. I'm like, I wanted him to say, but I love her for killing Barial.
That's right.
Oh, wow. I hadn't thought of that. So I for that I was putting, should we remember these crew names? Because they're for the purpose of having the backdrop of him, like, here are all the crew assignments for this shuttle transport thing. I was like, oh, this.
I felt like they cut a line about those two were having an affair, and that's why he was shuffling them, but I don't know.
I didn't got that either. Just I was just kind of distracted by the fact that they were even doing that. Like, this seems kind of realistic. They put the work into making these names up. Are they going to come up again? Have we already heard them? Things like that. But it was just to have that backdrop to, oh, by the way, business. I'm distracted.
I like that they called her spiritual leader, and this is in a non-spiritual. Obviously, we have plenty of spiritual leaders. We have a new one. They won't be new by this time, but Pope Leo the 13th, is that?
14th, I believe.
14th? He's the first American pope.
Probably new by, like Pope standards.
I had some friends that used to talk about, this is a long time ago, but a player on the Cincinnati Reds.
14th is correct.
They used to call him the spiritual leader because he had a couple bad years, but even if he was batting poorly, they'd say, but he's the spiritual leader of this team. So they were like, yeah, but that doesn't really get you a hit.
Spiritual leaders like Pope Leo, the Dalai Lama, Tom Cruise, spiritual leaders.
It was Alexander, something like that. I'm Buffy.
I like Kai Wynn's outfit. I don't know if we've seen that specific one before. It seemed very sharp, detailed. But I wondered if the line down the middle was supposed to signify the Bajoran's nose.
Oh. I feel like her hat always has that line down the middle, but I don't know.
Yeah.
That could be a design choice to pair well.
I had something from the Odo conversation still, just the way that he drew out that last line. It was you knew where he was going with it in general, but just I was expecting something more abrasive than that. Just when you give people the freedom of choice,
yeah,
and it's just the ... Here it's coming as just freedom of stupidity or something like that. He didn't say that though.
And that sometimes they make the wrong choice. They talk about if she'd even be willing to give up power, and that was just hitting way too close to home right now in 2025, unfortunately, with our current spiritual leader. Well, for some reason, some religious people think he is.
That is,
But also lying. The thing is, he's not half as smart as Wynn is. So, Trump. Let's hope we suffer in fair elections.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think? Kai Wynn throwing the shade on Kira about, it's been 3 months, you're still mourning him? No, and when she said, you must have cared a great deal about him, made it seem like you're a moron for caring.
There's your spiritual leader. All right, 3 months, move on.
And do you like her excuse of, well, he'd want me to have the credit?
Oh my God.
It's like, yeah, no, I agree with her words that he was not doing it for credit. Doesn't mean he doesn't deserve credit and you should take the credit.
Again, it's a credit to Louise Fletcher and Kai Wynn how much nonsense she says, but you're like, give that a little bit of thought. Wait a minute, no, that's not
Right?
You're wrong. You're a liar.
She's not wrong. She's just twisting the meaning behind the truth,
Yes.
which is why she's such a good master manipulator.
It was, I think it was almost like a hidden premise in the statement she said, though. It's like, the credit's not going to do him good, but it would do me good.
Right.
So it's just laying there for nothing. Why not use it?
Yeah.
You should not just say that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because she's only concerned about herself.
That's exactly right.
So we get down to Bajor, the Dakar province, I think they said, and we meet Shakkar, played by Duncan Regger, best known for The Monster Squad, where he played Count Dracula in 1987, Flying Virus, Wizards and Warriors, he did 8 episodes of that in 1983, and 4 episodes of the 1985 series V. He only has 42 acting credits.
He also played Zorro on the Family Channel. I saw that as one of his big credits.
Interestingly, his last credit was 2009, but he does have one listed upcoming credit for a TV movie. I don't know if that's like a holdover that's never been updated or what, but because if he hasn't acted in 16 years. One of his last credits was Airbud World Pup. He also was in the TV movie Murder, She Wrote, A Story to Die For. He will be in multiple episodes of Deep Space Nine. Not a ton, but multiple. I feel like he'll be mentioned a lot more than he's seen, but he will be in multiple episodes because, he is the political leader now.
I liked him. I liked the character and the guy.
I liked how calm and reserved he was, and a lot of times it was like he's waiting to say what he thinks because he's waiting to see what you'll do. Not that he's waiting to act based upon what you do, but more that he's like, I'm going to give that person space so they can make their own decision without me influencing them. I already know what my decision is, but I'm giving them space and also taking a judgment of their character. And I liked that a lot. I mean, it really hit home when she's like, I can't do it. He's like, don't feel bad, neither could I. And they didn't do it, but while he was sitting there with his finger on the trigger, I wanted him to like look over the camera to catch him looking over at her. And they didn't do that, but I feel like that was implied. Like that's kind of how it felt there.
I thought that moment was really cool because I felt very tense about it. Like I don't know if I want to. Keith made the point. He's like, are they set to stun? Because it would have been. I feel like it would have been very unpleasant if they actually blew their heads off, essentially. And I like that it showed that we could see the conflict within them. I'm saying it that way, but actually, I did actually like that scene. Like, and I felt like the music wasn't super stingery in that. At least not that part. It was just like you were there, and the weight of the moment was on them. And we know they killed before, obviously, but
not their own people.
Yeah.
And they took a while to get to that of like, I didn't kill Cardassians to then have to kill Bajorans.
Yeah.
And I thought that whole sequence. I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but I thought that whole sequence was really good. Like I said, I did not expect a happy, quote unquote, happy ending.
So good. And I was a little surprised they brought John Doman in for such a small role, but I guess first of all, it was a super pivotal role, despite the small size.
He was Lenoris.
He was Lenoris. Yeah, Lenoris, whatever. Yeah. Maybe he wasn't that big then. He's best known today for The Wire, The Affair, Borgia, The Trial of the Chicago 7. I remember from The Practice back in the 90s. I love John Doman. He's got a ton of credit. He has, for Keith's benefit, only 114 acting credits. He's still active today. I think he's a really terrific actor, and it was good to see him in a role like that. I feel like he could have played Shakkar as well, and it would have worked, but I liked their dynamic, and when he came in, he already brought the gravitas and complexity to it, where you could tell he and Shakkar were of like mind and similar manner, and I felt like we didn't need the scene, somebody shooting and him reprimanding them, but that was for the people that did not immediately notice or weren't paying as much attention. Like, we need to hammer over the head what this guy does. Oh, I guess this is only his 7th credit on IMDb, so he really wasn't anything at that point. Yeah, his first credit was in an episode of As the World Turns.
I don't think that was overdone. Like actually having the shot fire, because I thought that added the tension, and I think really got allowed him to show what he would do in that situation. That it wasn't just him either being cowardly or anything else. It's just
Well,
I'm as passionate as you about not doing this.
Well, and again, it kind of subverted our expectations in the sense that I was expecting
Firefight.
And when he fired, I was like, "Oh, it's on now," and then it still wasn't on.
Yeah.
And I think we talked about this before, but it felt them being the farmers become freedom fighters felt very Star Wars, but also more than that in the real world, Viet Cong, or it made me think of the Balkan State civil wars that were going on then. I don't know that they were alluding to anyone in particular, and it also felt like the trigger happy cop in one standoff. So one shot gets fired, and all of a sudden 50 shots get fired, and no one knows who started it.
Right.
But at least in that instance, they knew.
I think they kind of foreshadowed.
That guy right there. Get that naked gun now. Get out of here.
They kind of foreshadowed a little bit of how it might play when Kira says earlier, like when they're being chased, like a lot of these people were freedom fighters too. A lot of these people were also for resistance. So
and so that conversation with Lenoris is very like we've had I haven't mentioned Balance of Terror in at least a week. Perhaps in a different world or time we could have been friends. In this instance, it's like, oh wait, we were on the same stage.
We still are.
Friends.
We still are.
Yeah. I like that development as well.
I like that she just didn't have her power consolidated enough to send out loyal shock soldiers. Now in the week or two she has left before the elections, she is going to purge the generals, and Linares will be out. Get rid of most of the civil servants, replace them with loyalists, so that even if Shakkar's prime minister, she'll still have all the power.
I can see that.
So we also met a couple other members of the Resistance.
Yeah.
We had Furl, played by William Lucking, who's best known for The World's Fastest Indian, Red Dragon, Contraband, and The Limey. He has 163 credits.
Yeah.
Sons of Anarchy was his last regular role, I think. He had 49 episodes. All the other were odd roles. No.
Oh, you beat me to it. That's exactly what I was about to say.
He's dead now?
Just passed away. 21.
But he did an episode of Star Trek Enterprise. Looks like he was in MASH. I'm guessing by this still I see.
He was definitely one of those guys. And then I realized as I was looking, he plays in Stripes, he's the recruiter that asks him all the questions. Bill Murray and Hal Ramis are enlisting.
Oh, yeah, he was in the MASH movie.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
I was like, that still is definitely from MASH. And I clicked on the still, and it says MASH 1972.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. Obviously, he was quite a bit younger than in here. But yeah, definitely in an episode of Star Trek Enterprise. As a different character, believe it or not. Even though that's set 150 years before and on Earth, and they haven't discovered Bajor yet. The other Resistance fighter we get to know, because the rest are extras, is Lupeza, played by Diane Salinger.
Yeah.
Best known for Batman Returns, where she played the Penguin's mother.
Yep.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Ghost World, Carnivale. She played
She's Simone in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. I knew I recognized her. She's got some very...
She's also still active.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a more recent picture of her now, and she looks a lot more recognizable. I didn't recognize her then. I've definitely seen her in a bunch of stuff if you look at a more modern picture of her. But, yeah, I thought they were both good and served their purpose. I liked fleshing it out a little bit. My alternate episode for this, and I did write this down early before it got, really intense and good, and, I was tearing up in the confrontation scene. But my early thought was, maybe this is Kira's high school reunion. She goes home and it's kind of wacky. And Shakkar's her high school boyfriend. And these are kids. And that would be kind of a fun little thing. Instead of it, every time she goes back, it always having to be this deep, dark thing.
Yeah.
But also their high school would have been during the Resistance while they were freedom fighters, which would have been, do you remember that class we had in the cave down there where we used rat blood to write the equation?
They did have the mind of the brief, remember that time? They did a little bit of that around the table. And then, did either of you find the story of why he didn't get his arm replaced convincing?
I thought it was religious stupidity.
Okay. That's what you meant by convincing, yes.
It's I felt like they all looked at him okay.
When he says that, it's like the mother whose child just died from measles, but the other kid survived. She's like, well, it wasn't that bad. I have faith in God. Would you get them vaccinated? No, even knowing I lost my child, I would not. It's that kind of thing of you're putting your religion above sense. And that's very dumb. And believe it or not, I just, her page finally loaded a little bit. She will return as this character one more time in season 5.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see Lupeza again It's not one of the episodes that Shakkar is back for. So interestingly enough,
Him saying, well, they could have got him an arm and all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
Made me think of. It sounded like it would be more complicated, you know. And I think you mentioned, Keith, it's a parallel to the rotator cuff. It seems like, you know, with all the other advances, they could have found a way to replace his arm pretty easily. But, you know, again, his religious reasons, I guess. But
Well, they said in less than a week it would be like as good as new.
okay,
And I thought that was really odd. Definitely lacking foresight because I know like later in Deep Space Nine there's going to be a really like heavy plot about somebody losing a limb, and it's not that easily replaced, and it doesn't just. And so that's like making me think like he's just seeing it in a different way or making it. Maybe it wasn't really. Maybe he heard what he wanted to hear, or maybe.
So maybe he was afraid to do it, and he used that as an excuse.
Yeah, because I feel like, at least in the future, and we'll have to revisit that episode when we get to it, I feel like it's not that easy when a character we know loses a limb later in the series, but we'll see.
it reminded me of the joke, and I wish I could remember who told it. I think it was the local guy, Dan Kozer, I think. But he told this joke, this was like 15 years ago, during an OGP show. He was talking about the movie Avatar, and he's like, you know, they got all this advanced things, so these, you know, this guy can go down and be in one of the Na'vi and blah blah blah, and they've got all this advanced stuff. He's like, but yet the wheelchair is exactly like a wheelchair you'd use right now. He's like, there's been zero advancement in wheelchair technology. He's like, that is really a ripoff and not believable,
Right?
But that always made me laugh.
So I have a lot of notes about Kai Wynn, but there's something that I want to put out there before we get too far. Probably backing up for a second.
Beep, beep.
Yeah. This was something that I found pretty distracting at the beginning and still throughout the episode until they kind of got to why they didn't really get into it. Reclamators. So the thing I put down was that, you know, early on I was like, it would really help me to understand the significance of this. You explain exactly how these things work, how long it takes them to work, what kind of progress, why aren't there more of them? Can't they just like how
Replicate some more?
Yeah, how long would it take to make a reclamator?
That's what
would
I
it take
wrote
6
down,
months
like,
to make it?
Reclamators do, and then
Clean the soil so they can grow.
Yeah, that was my guess.
Yeah. But I mean, like, how do they do it, and how long does it take to do
Right.
it? How efficient are they? And, you know.
Because they're making a big deal about it, and obviously there's a reason she is. But then I was like, well, why are you making a big deal about it? I know you're farmers or whatever, but is it that big a deal? Yeah,
They
by
need it
by
for
the
their
end, it
livelihood.
seemed like they were like, whatever, reclaim. Excuse me. Well, we don't even need them either. Or whatever. Like,
Well, I think when she said it's not even about the reclamators, it's about that's the big reveal.
Yeah.
But it's at least a little bit about them. I guess what I would want to know is how severely was she overreacting? How much trouble would it have been to get some?
Right.
Or why?
She was just looking for an excuse to wipe out her opposition.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's how she was going to hold on to power, was by creating a conflict that then she could be the steady leader that led them through. I finally got William Lucking's IMDb page to fully load, and the character he played, the one-armed Bajoran, he will be in 3 episodes. I don't know why. I knew Shakkar was a recurring character, and these other 2 are also, but I forgot that they were. Both of his other 2 are in season 5, so we'll see both of them again.
Yeah.
Still though, I mean, why wouldn't they have? Again, I get it to some extent, but it would have been nice if they, even during that conversation with Cisco, which was great as always.
Yeah.
Him even offering, why don't we just give you one?
Yeah.
Or how much do they cost?
Yeah.
Or can we
The
try to help you
Federation
make it?
can
Anything
send
like
you
that.
something.
That if they're negotiating in some way for them to, you know, become part of the Federation, that would seem like a gesture of some sort. That,
And
you know, how are they made?
on the one hand, I guess they need him because they even have the shot of Kira crumbling in soil that does not look fertile.
Mm-hmm.
But it also, and I wrote this at the beginning, and there, a lot of Star Wars stuff this week, but another rustic but futuristic farm. So it's the same old equipment. Doesn't feel like any advances other than a reclamator that we never see.
Right.
Yeah.
And but
too.
The door was sliding metal.
the door was
Not automatic, but it wasn't a farmhouse door.
Yeah, the doorbell was futuristic and whatever he used to cook or make up something. But
yeah, I love that kind of thing.
It's amazing to me how many Star Trek worlds are like that, and we've talked about it. Makes sense in a lot of ways that a lot of planets might be, and that's where they are. They're agrarian. They're not where we are now or whatever. But the weirder part to me is how into farming people are, and this and Star Wars for that matter. I was like,
I mean, they still have to grow things in some way.
I
Like,
guess some drones do it.
yeah.
but it's all right. So I thought about that even in, like, say, Firefly. The idea of there being outer planets. I mean, if I had to build a house from scratch,
Yeah.
even with technology we use right now, if I just went out to some
Yeah,
field, I couldn't do it.
right.
I mean, I'd have to do it the hard way, and you can't order it from Amazon or whatever. They just had to. So
Yeah, I guess I'm always like, oh, I want to see another Coruscant somewhere in some galaxy, and I guess they're out there.
Right.
In the Star Trek, for that matter, we've got going back to Star Trek: The Motion Picture, the robot planet or whatever, or the AI planet, whatever you want to call it, that the V'ger crashes on, and they repair them and send them back, or repair it and send it back. And I don't know why I'm gendering V'ger, but anyway, so yeah, I guess there is that one. So and also I think for purposes of set, it's really easy to be like, we're going to be in a rustic farm. Although the other part of it, I'm jumping around a little bit here. Those hills were really steep. Like, they weren't just going down the hills; they were sliding down them practically.
Some of the extras were having trouble keeping their feet.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting and realistic.
Yeah.
We weren't in Topanga Canyon or wherever our favorite canyon is. They usually film it.
Yeah. Though Ty Wynn says early in the episode that the farmers stole the reclamator machines. And when you talk to them, it sure didn't seem like they stole them. It seemed like they were given them, and she just wanted to take them back earlier than they were supposed to.
Yep.
And is she considering it stolen because they didn't just hand them back when she asked? It's not stolen. There's definitely some conflict there with the truth of the matter. I feel like that was her manipulating, and I think it was a really interesting choice to have that discrepancy in it.
I like that quite a bit. I didn't really caught it at the time. I did write something because you said that she was lying. I was like, well, she hasn't really lied yet. My favorite though that I wrote was, "You can tell him that." Those were her exact words when she said, "Can I tell him that you're going to meet with blah blah blah? When you're going to meet with you?" Like, "Oh, you can tell him that."
I did not trust her in that moment to follow through with it, so it was not a surprise when instead she did set soldiers.
But I'm saying still, she very very carefully didn't lie about it. She just, well, you can believe what you would like.
Well, it was I think I mentioned out loud to you guys, like, Kira was in her service and she lasted about a Scaramucci, if even that, serving her. Yeah, when Wynn says this, or Kira says it's the last time she'll lie to us, I'm like, yeah, there's no way that's true. She's still in a bunch more episodes.
I also put, from that same conversation, that will be all my child is Bajoran for Get Out.
It's the Bajoran equivalent of the Southern, bless your heart.
Yes.
Well, it was more like dismissed.
Right. Yeah, it was definitely dismissed.
I liked it.
Just
She
said,
said,
Starfleet for Get Out.
I think we all laughed when she said, "Oh, you've done enough."
Yeah.
Your work here is done.
It becomes pretty obvious that Wynn has other plans when she declares martial law and asks for Federation security to come in. Like, that kind of reveals her true plans, I think. And Sisko talking about her being overreacting, but her saying, well, no, I'm just being tested by the prophets. You can't argue with a religious person. Like, she's wrong, she's lying, but you can't. Yeah. There's nothing you can do to argue that.
That's God's will.
The
prophets have said it.
My note was a perfect demonstration of why church and state should remain separate. This is exactly what someone would do in that situation, and what some people probably, obviously people have done that.
And I thought, to the power of Kai Wynn, I thought she had convinced Sisko, because he took a couple beats there at the end, and then he was like, he was just getting ready to say, no, not happening. And I was like, all right, you get him.
He's not a shoot from the hip. He thinks and considers and does, takes the couple of seconds.
Yeah, and that's, people should do decisions like that.
But
this might be my last Star Wars reference this episode, but we'll see.
Maybe.
When,
last one ever.
Well,
Cueing Jimmy to laugh at that, too. Never lie again.
I'll never reference Star Wars.
Or you'll never reference A Balance of Terror again.
I liked it because she kept sitting down at her desk, and it made me think of, actually, this is the Family Guy reference also in Star Wars, where it's one of the Stewie and Brian are on the road, and Stewie's like, do you remember the scene in Sith where what's the Emperor have a desk? I mean, what's he got in there? What's he, pens and paper and paper clips? What does he need a desk? I mean, obviously he's the Senate, but and it makes sense that she would have a desk to do things, but it just reminded me of that and cracked me up. Like, does she have pens and stuff in there? And she's brushing around there. I thought it was a cool little. I thought it was a small desk. This was gigantic.
Well, since you mentioned that, there was something I didn't write down, but I did think of at the time. Exactly from Family Guy Star Wars, which was the ambush scene where you did the nod.
Oh,
The music,
yeah.
like they keep nodding back and forth. Stick
From Return of the Jedi. Yeah.
So we kind of resolved this plot in the fact that Shakkar is going to run for office, and rather than like stretch this out like they did the Vedic Takai election, it was just like, no, they kind of blackmail Wynn into stepping on. They even mentioned that Wynn supported him and like endorsed him, which is ridiculous. But yeah, I don't know that I expected. I mean, I knew Shakkar was going to run, but like trying to see the Freedom Fighter, I felt like we needed a little bit more explanation. If his personality hadn't been so obvious, I want peace and to help people. We need a little more explanation to get from farmer freedom fighter to political leader.
Yeah.
I wanted a little more there to draw that evolution.
Well, I mean, they kept talking. Well, it was which conversation was that the Cisco conversations one? No, somebody. It was when they were talking about him gaining all the support, essentially. That it wasn't just that other people knew it was happening, and there was swellings of support around the other areas.
Yeah. Cisco doesn't scold Kira for her actions, which I like that they're... I feel like in earlier seasons, maybe not necessarily a scold, but a conversation about should you really have got on the run and did all that? And at this point, Cisco's like, no, I totally trust you.
It was interesting.
I'm glad to have you back. I'm not going to say another word about it.
Yep.
I like that their dynamic is that.
And
he said very pointedly when Wynn said, well, she's been on the run for 2 weeks, he's like, is that what Kira told you? Because I haven't talked to her in quite some time. And I can't be like, quite some time means I talked to her just before I walked in here. I know what's going on. You know, like, I feel like there should have been some hint that, yeah, she's kept me in the loop because we're friends. And
Do you think that's what happened?
you know, honestly, I think she probably didn't call, but he just trusted her.
Right.
But I kind of would have liked to have seen that she did call. And the way he said it was evasive enough that I was like, he didn't say I haven't talked to her in 2 weeks. He said I haven't talked to her in some time. And I'm like, yeah, some time could mean 30 seconds.
I know he talks to her at the beginning, but did she essentially just take a leave of absence?
No, she didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Okay. She said, I'll be down there.
I don't think she even told him that. She just didn't come back for work the next day. And
Okay.
he was like, well, I know where she was. Well, she had been recruited by Kai, so she probably left the station and said, hey, I have to go do Kai's bidding.
Right.
Yeah.
And he might assume she's back in the day, but when she's not, he's like, well, she's doing what she needs to do.
Yeah.
I like that the other people on the planet kept calling her Nerys. I thought that was maybe that's again the old high school friends getting together and calling each other by last name, that kind of thing. This is another thing that I'll never do again. I like the matte paintings. We had a couple of Bajoran matte paintings. I like both those in the episode.
Collector's items
Yes.
from the prominent Bajoran artists.
My alternate episode was It Is the Time of Civil War, so that is my last Star Wars reference for tonight.
So far.
For now.
So far.
And then my Seinfeld reference while we're doing the guy who played Savar, the opponent that won. Like
Sherman Howard.
Sherman, yeah.
The Vulcan.
Yeah.
Or Romulan, they didn't say.
Yeah, I wasn't sure either. He played Roy in the Junior Mint episode. Roy is Elaine's ex-boyfriend, or a guy she dated. I don't think he was a boyfriend, but he's going for surgery. Oh. Kramer and Jerry are watching, and Kramer tries to get Jerry to have a Junior Mint. He says he doesn't want it, knocks in the air, lands inside him, and he ends up back in the hospital soon after because of the Junior Mint that landed inside. They're very refreshing. So I was like, I know him from a lot. I was like, he's a familiar looking guy, but that's the number one for me. Best known for me.
Okay.
And that's all the notes I have.
Well, the last note we had was Kira blowing out the candle on Brio, which definitely hinted that there might be some romantic tension between her and Shakkar.
Yeah.
I'm not
I was going to say earlier on that that's probably one of the reasons for the casting, as it's much more natural. Like right there, I wouldn't have seen the same thing from the other guy.
John Doteman.
Yeah.
I can see that. Yeah, I will not reveal if there's more between them or not, but you know.
Well, I when the last time he not grabbed her, but I was holding her, I was like, I have plenty of female friends that I'm close to that I don't hold that way.
I was watching them. I'm like, are they gonna kiss?
Yeah,
Not sure.
I thought you.
Not sure.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I was just like, unless I'm on stage with them, I'm not gonna grab somebody.
Yeah.
Unless they're.
It's comforting. It's just short aside.
That's one way to say it.
Just the conversation. So my note about the candle was I wondered if they were signifying that she was done mourning or done with the religious trappings of it because of his taste for the ceremony of things. And
I didn't think about that, but you could be right.
It seems to me he lived his life like a candle in the wind.
sure.
And now he's blown out. She blew Barial one last time. Are you ready to rank?
I think our listeners are definitely ready for us.
I had a couple things.
Go for it.
So
Yeah.
one was for Kai Wynn. Even right now, I can't picture her in my head. I just always see Dolores Umbridge. Like I'm trying to visualize who it is, and like see that face, and I was like, all right, well.
In this episode, should she be Kai Luz instead of Kai Wynn?
I will.
Keith jokes today.
I will be back. I defer. I mentioned the stinger again.
Yes.
For just it's so. I was saying that if I were coming into this fresh and I just didn't know anything at all, I think it would be fun to just kind of go through and draw that line where I'm like, nope, she's not being reasonable. And I think it lasts for quite a while. I mean, that first scene with Kira, it felt she seems kind of nice. I mean, there's a couple things where like, oh, that's maybe not ethical about the taking credit, but other than that, this seems like a very pleasant conversation.
Yeah.
Just like talking things
Yeah, you're right.
It's like, okay.
A nice lady.
Yeah.
Uh,
So my last one was something Jimmy was saying at the end. It's, in essence, these kinds of political stories are aging better than they should. It's like they're seeming more plausible. Like things wouldn't hit you in the same way back then as they hit you. And I was like, oh wow, they're actually making a really good point and showing us something. And
unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, ranking the episode stuff, who was your shady character in Shakkar?
I think you guys convinced me that the writer for that B plot.
I'm still gonna say O'Brien on that one then.
Yeah.
So, Steven's Jonathan West was the writer.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta go Wynn because
Shame on
O'Brien never revealed herself. I know Wynn's always shady.
Started with her and then.
Always shady, but you gotta. It's if O'Brien never had an official reveal, I can't choose him.
Yeah.
I still think that's the literal definition of shady. You don't even know. You can't even figure it out. He's that good.
Right.
so.
Who was your annoyance?
The trigger happy Bajoran.
That was pretty good.
I'm doing the writer Jonathan West because Wynn's actions annoy me because of current parallels, but it's hard to be annoyed by Louise Fletcher and how great she is as an antagonist.
She's
so
good. And I said every time she's been on, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which eventually we'll watch as a special.
You can pick it as your special if you want.
This time I will. She is, and there's been some revisionist thing on that, whether she's the villain in that movie or not. But to me, when the last time I watched it, she was. Maybe it'll be different next time, but at the same time, I am just spellbound by her in that entire movie. And it's very similar to this, where she is that person who's acting like she's doing the right thing, and and again, that's part of the argument now, is maybe she is doing the right thing during that, but from my recollection, and I think a lot of people, because they're rooting for Jack Nicholson's character, but she's the bad guy, but she sounds soothing and reassuring, and while she's doing something terrible to you, she's very comforting, and she's just so good at that. Rest in peace.
Your annoyance.
I can't remember her name. The penguin's mother.
Oh,
Lupaza.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was something about her delivery, and especially when she was kind of, let's turn around and kill them. Just kind of kept just kind of nudging for that.
Yeah.
We can't let's just kill them. Bloody their nose. Colloquially, you just
kill it. Man. So who are you having a drink with?
Shakkar.
Me too.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. I like that guy.
Me too. And I think he'd be somebody would be fun to have a drink with.
That's why I would go
more than that.
I go for him present because I want somebody that I can have a
beer with,
even though I don't like beer.
A Romulan ale. A Klingon bloodline.
There, now we got that one. Yeah, that I would do.
It's hard to. I'm just taking a second to think of it. There's somebody else, but that's such a good choice.
You're pulling a Siska, taking a second to think about it.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna say no. No, can't do it. That's that's my decision for that. Actually, Cisco would be a good choice there too. But
He will be.
but
Always.
for no, let's go with yeah, same thing.
Shakkar.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding. All right. Okay, so let's rank this episode. This is going to be a little tough because I liked this episode a lot. Let's start with a recent episode, Explorers. Jake and Ben in the solar vessel. Other than
I think
the
I'll put this above. I mean, there's for me it was mostly the moment when the conversations with the Cardassians and that, and like the reveal at the end and so forth. I liked that, but I think this had more going on.
yeah,
That was recent.
yeah.
Here, okay. Oh yeah. Cisco built the ship. I think I'd go.
Okay. So above that is life support. Another heavy
Yeah.
Kaiwin and Kira episode.
Very comparable in some ways, but
Yeah.
This one had bigger impact for the series for sure.
This Shakkar did.
I think so.
Hmm.
I mean, I guess that took out a recurring character. This introduces one, but I
Right.
think this shows Wynn's. Well, we already knew Wynn was power hungry, but I don't know.
I think I enjoyed this one more. Just something.
Yeah, that's one that I never remember fondly, but when we were watching it, I remember really liking it.
Yeah.
So, about that is Destiny, another fun O'Brien B plot. I think that B plot was slightly better, but the A plot on this one might have been a little more affecting.
I'm torn. I might actually go under. It's just something. Prophecy episodes are too fun for me though.
I'm going to go over and make Steven decide.
I think I'd go over as well.
Okay. But that's Family Business. This doesn't meet that.
Interesting.
I liked that one very much. This had some slow parts. That one was pretty tight.
And it had another good B plot.
This one,
Solve itself.
this one had some weak writing that I think part of why it's ranking so high is just that one really good pivotal scene in the canyon, and then also the inclusion of Kaiwin.
Yeah.
I would say that the
So I'm gonna stop there.
this is where I would do the thing where family business seemed too silly to me kind of argument. It was
Well, you weren't here to rank it, so you have to put up with our ranking.
fine, but just to expand on that a bit,
Mhm.
it was more it got into the bizarro logic of women can't wear clothing, and they're doing that whole bit with.
Yeah.
But obviously they're doing it for the TV, TV.
We enjoyed it.
Yeah. I like the way that it was.
Mhm.
They're playing it up. Yeah, they
like paint themselves
in
in
one
these
corner.
clothes.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like the way they ended up painting, like I said, painting themselves in that corner, and then how they try to kind of get their way around it. It at least works for that episode. But
Yep.
when it's not Andrea Martin in an old person suit,
Yeah,
it might be different. So we'll see what happens next time we see it. For a
and
few
Cecily.
moments.
Yeah. So are we stopping there?
Oh, yeah. I think. Although I could be persuaded to go above that too.
Well, Keith already wanted it lower, so
Yeah.
just for
You
your
see, but
reference,
I-
About
but-
Family Business is the two-parter with Tane and the Cardassian Dominion War stuff.
Yeah.
But ironically, I think I would have put this one above family business, even though it's
Yeah. Oh, I got you.
Well, either way it shakes out, I think we're putting this at number 4. 4 of the last 5 episodes are our top 4.
Oh,
The 5th one being Explorers, which is only ranked number 7. So we're ending this season pretty strong. Although next week, the next 2 weeks, we will not be on Deep Space Nine because next week we're going to watch the Voyager season finale, which is called Learning Curve, as Neelix's cooking sickens Voyager itself. Tuvok runs the 4 most problematic Maquis malcontents through a Starfleet-style boot camp. And then the week after that, of course, we'll do the season 1 full discussion on Voyager.
Interesting.
right. So I was telling Stephen this last night, but this is finally the episode that I was talking about. When I remembered Voyager and just the phrase "the Maquis way."
Oh, right.
So I thought it was going to be. I mean, the way that it unfolds, it feels like something should happen much sooner in the series than it does. So,
Especially because we've kind of moved past all the Maquis drama in
You
the last
think.
few episodes.
Yeah.
I mean, we're already past the
Sashka?
Yeah. You would think that would have been something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, until then, live long.
Unlike Burrell
Oh.
and Shakespeare.
And always shoot first. just like Han and
Like Rito.
It's All Been Done presents
Who's Got the Time?